What if this isn't your first time living this exact life? Not your second, not your 100th, but your 1000th or more. Same body, same family, same world. Only one thing ever changes: your decisions. And here's the terrifying part. You don't even know you're repeating. No reincarnation, no reset as someone else. You loop back into the same life, the same starting point, over and over, until you make every single choice perfectly. No scoreboard, no divine messenger, just silence, and a reset button you never see. Success, fame, fortune, those don't matter here. You could become a global icon and still be stuck. You could die alone, unnoticed, and finally be free. Because this isn't about achievement, it's about alignment. And every time you fail the unseen moral test, you're sent back to the beginning, again and again and again. In this world, there are no second chances in new bodies. There's only one life, endlessly repeated in different variations. It's always you. You don't change forms. You don't change timelines. You are rerouted, rerun, reloaded, inside the same existence. From the outside, it looks like one single timeline, but within you, there's the shadow of 100 forgotten paths. Maybe that gut feeling was a warning from another version of you. Maybe that strange déjà vu is the ghost of a choice you once made differently. Maybe your strongest instincts aren't instincts at all, but echoes of lives you've already lived. And somewhere, buried beneath all of it, is the version of this life where you made all the right moves. Not the most profitable ones, not the most popular ones, but the morally aligned ones, the ones your soul was built to make. That version, the perfect one, is your key out. But until then, you're stuck in this invisible cycle, chasing perfection without knowing what it even looks like. But how would that even work if you can't remember the loops? If you start from scratch every time, how would your soul even know it's looping? You wake up in the same body every time. Same birth, same parents, same world. But the path, that's entirely up to you. Each loop is a new version of the same life, unfolding based on your decisions. You might chase love in one loop, seek revenge in another. You might stay in your hometown, or flee the moment you can. The faces you meet, the losses you endure, the joy you find. All different, because you're always steering the wheel. But here's the trick. You don't remember the last version. Not exactly. What you do feel are the faintest ripples of lives already lived. That stranger who instantly feels familiar. That moment when time slows down before a decision. That chill down your spine when you walk into a place for the first time. They're not accidents, they're echoes. Not from past lives, but from this same life, lived before, in a different way. And these echoes, they're your only clues. There's no narrator guiding you, no glowing path. Just quiet hints that the version you're living might be close or way off. Sometimes, people feel unshakable guilt and don't know why. Others carry a sense of urgency, like they're racing towards something they can't name. Some say it's anxiety, but maybe it's memory your mind isn't allowed to keep. Maybe it's your soul screaming through the fog. You've made this mistake before. Don't do it again. In one loop, you might achieve everything you ever wanted: fame, power, legacy. In another, you might have nothing but peace, kindness, and quiet dignity. And the great twist, it's not the success loop that frees you, it's the aligned one. Because this isn't a system that rewards ambition, it rewards integrity. You can win by the world's standards and still loop again. You can lose everything and pass the test. The loop doesn't care about your resume, it cares about your soul print. But if it's not success that sets you free, then what does a perfect life even look like? What choices are we actually being tested on? Let's go deeper. In this looped reality, success is a distraction. Wealth, just noise. Fame, a shiny detour. Power, a seductive trap. These things might make your life easier or harder, but they don't move you any closer to escape. Because the loop isn't judging your outcome. It's judging your intent. You're not being tested on how high you climb, but on why you climb. You could win the lottery, cure a disease, or become the most celebrated figure in history. But if your journey was fueled by ego, envy, cruelty, or fear, you loop back. Meanwhile, someone who dies, poor, unknown, and uncelebrated, but lived with humility, courage, compassion, and truth. Gone, graduated, ascended. It was never about achievement. It was always about alignment. In this system, Spiritual alignment means living in harmony with your inner truth, choosing what is right, even when it's hard, doing what is kind, even when it costs, speaking the truth, even when silence is safer. It's not flashy, it's not viral, it's not glamorous, but it's the only path that leads forward. The danger is, our world constantly tells us the opposite. Win at all costs, protect your image, always be right, don't look weak. So we become experts at posturing, defending, collecting, competing. We start believing that moral success is optional, as long as we're winning. But in the loop, every shortcut taken, every betrayal ignored, every silence in the face of injustice is tallied, not to punish you, but to push you toward clarity. You're not here to be perfect by society's standards. You're here to make the quiet decisions that align your soul. And often, those decisions are invisible to everyone else. They're the moments no one sees. Not cutting someone off in traffic, returning a lost wallet with nothing missing, admitting you were wrong when no one would have known otherwise. These are the micro choices that shape your soul print. These are the true metrics. But if success is meaningless and the test is invisible, how does anyone even know they're getting closer? Can we sense it? Can we feel it? Or are we all flying blind through the fog? Not everyone believes in the loop. Most people live their lives just once, oblivious, distracted, too consumed by survival, pleasure, or ambition to notice the pattern. But then, there are the suspectors, people who feel the itch beneath their reality, people who notice the signs, a decision that feels strangely familiar, a person they're inexplicably drawn to, an unshakable fear of making the wrong move. They don't know why, but something inside them whispers, "You've done this before. Not like this. Try again." These people don't have proof, but they start asking questions. They challenge the default narrative, and slowly, they find each other. Small online forums, strange support groups, hidden message boards, digital campfires for the spiritually paranoid. They call it the loop theory, the echo hypothesis, cycle consciousness. Some believe there are signs when you're getting closer to exit, dreams that feel too vivid, sudden clarity in your moral compass, a growing discomfort with deception, an internal voice that gets louder when you try to ignore it. Others believe the loop wants you to figure it out, that it gently rewards progress with synchronicities, the right book falling into your hands, a stranger saying exactly what you needed to hear, doors opening only when your motives are pure. Of course, most people laugh it off. They call it spiritual mumbo-jumbo, mental illness, existential burnout. But for those who feel it, it's impossible to unfeel. Some become obsessed, trying to trace their lives like a maze, mapping out every decision, every moment of regret. Others become deeply reflective, turning away from the chase and toward quiet integrity. And then there are the dangerous ones, people who believe they can game the loop. They create morality scorecards. They develop ascension guides. They sell step-by-step programs to unlock the exit. But these people rarely last. Their obsession becomes a new trap. Their ego wraps around enlightenment like a noose, because the loop isn't a formula, it's a mirror. And the moment you try to beat it for selfish reasons, you've already lost. But even for those who believe in the loop, how long can a soul endure the same life over and over again? How many times can you stumble before the weight of eternity begins to crush you? What happens to a soul that keeps trying, but never makes it out? What happens when you start to feel the loop, but can't escape it? That's where loop fatigue sets in. It's not depression. Exactly. It's not burnout, anxiety, or even hopelessness. It's all of them, plus a haunting, bone-deep sense that you've already done this too many times. You can't remember the past lives, but your spirit is tired. You walk into a room and feel like you've walked into it 1,000 times. You make a mistake and feel an overwhelming grief, like it wasn't just this time, but every time. You start asking dangerous questions. What if I'll never get it right? What if I already passed, and I just didn't realize? What if this is hell, and no one knows it? Some souls give up, not visibly. They don't all self-destruct or isolate. They just disconnect. They stop caring about right and wrong. They stop trying to improve. They live on autopilot, numb and exhausted, just waiting for something to change that never does. Others swing in the opposite direction. Moral hypervigilance. They analyze every word they say, every emotion they feel. They agonize over every decision, fearing even the smallest misstep might send them back again. But this kind of perfectionism becomes its own prison. You stop being real and start becoming strategic. You're not acting from goodness, you're acting from fear. And the loop can tell. It sees through calculation. It rejects righteousness. That's only performative. And so, you'll loop again. Even the most well-meaning souls get stuck here, drowning in their own awareness. And with no final scoreboard, no confirmation of progress, no guidance, that awareness becomes a curse. Some theorize that exits spike in those closest to escape. People whose souls are almost ready, but whose minds can no longer carry the weight of uncertainty. But exits just resets the loop. It always does. Because the test isn't just about making the right decisions, it's about facing the unbearable without giving up. It's about moving forward, even when you don't know how close you are. And that's what makes the loop so brutal. It's not just a test of morality, but a test of spiritual endurance. But where there is fear, there is always someone ready to profit. And in a world this desperate to escape, what happens when people try to monetize the divine? Wherever there's desperation, there's a market. And in a world where everyone's secretly trying to escape the loop, a new kind of economy begins to emerge. Spiritual capitalism. People don't just want to be good, they want to be sure they're being good enough. Enter the grifters, the gurus, and the game masters. Books start appearing, promising the 12 steps to moral perfection. Workshops with names like Exit Training and Soul Path Mapping start charging thousands. Apps flood the market with karma trackers, virtue scorers, and loop progress broker. Suddenly, people are paying to be told how to be good, but goodness doesn't scale. It can't be bought. And when you try to package it, it decays, yet the illusion of control is intoxicating. People begin living by strict spiritual checklists. Did I donate today? Was I polite to a stranger? Did I meditate, journal, forgive someone I hate? But none of it is real if it's done to escape, not to align. You can't trick the loop. It knows why you do what you do. It doesn't care about how things look on the outside. It only watches the heart. And still, the industries grow. New Age cults form, promising guaranteed ascension if you just follow their path. Charismatic figures claim they've broken free and returned to teach others. Loop celebrities rise. People who publicly track their moral progress and sell their lifestyle as a roadmap to escape. But it's a lie. They're still inside the loop, and deep down, they know it. Then comes the tech. AI programs trained to detect moral missteps in your speech, augmented reality goggles that simulate ethical scenarios to practice perfection, even neural implants marketed as conscience enhancers. But these aren't tools of enlightenment, they're crutches, feeding the illusion that you can manufacture morality. And some people go even darker. They manipulate others into sin, hoping contrast will make their own souls seem purer. They commit small evils to test if the loop reacts. They hurt others and justify it as part of their journey to ascension. But that's the great paradox. The moment you try to cheat the test, you've already failed it. Because the loop isn't a system you can outsmart. It isn't here to be gamed. It's here to be understood, and it won't let you leave until who you are when no one's watching is finally enough. But what happens when someone finally does get it right? What does it look like to pass the test? And most haunting of all, where do they go next? They don't make headlines, they don't leave behind viral goodbyes, but every now and then, someone disappears. No body, no trace, no reason, just gone, like they were never here at all. Some call it coincidence, some say it's tragedy, but others, they believe it's something else entirely. They call them the rare ascenders, not saints, not prophets, just ordinary people who somehow, quietly, got it right. They lived the same life you're living now, same world, same rules, but somewhere along the way, they aligned perfectly, not perfectly by action, perfectly by intent. They told the truth, even when it cost them. They forgave without applause. They loved without condition. They did what was right when it was hardest to do so. And when they reached the end of that version of their life, they didn't reset, they simply vanished. Some say they move on to a higher state of consciousness. Others believe they dissolve into the universe, becoming light, energy, peace itself. A few even believe they re-enter the world in hidden ways. A stranger who saves a life, then disappears. A child who speaks wisdom beyond their years. An artist whose work changes people without explanation. But no matter what version you believe, they all agree on one thing. The ascenders don't announce themselves. They don't seek validation. They don't know they've passed the test until they do. Because the loop doesn't reward performance, it rewards authenticity. You can't fake your way out. You can't speedrun enlightenment, and no one can tell you how close you are. All you can do is live like this. Might be the final version, the one that counts, and maybe it is. Maybe this is your chance to leave the loop forever. So now you know. You are being tested, not for perfection, but for purity. Not by what the world sees, but by what only you and the loop ever will. So now you know. You're not just living a life. You're navigating a test without instructions, a maze with no visible walls, a story that keeps restarting every time you miss the point. You don't get a scoreboard. You don't get confirmation. You just keep waking up until you finally get it right. Not by becoming rich, not by becoming famous, but by becoming true. Because that's the real secret the loop is hiding. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be aligned to your values, to your conscience, to the deepest part of yourself that knows the difference between convenience and character. You've been here before. You've tried the shortcuts. You've chased the shiny prizes. You've silenced the voice that told you something didn't feel right. And maybe this time, you'll finally listen. Because somewhere inside you, there's a version of this life, the exact same life you're living now, where you made every hard choice for the right reason, where you loved bravely, spoke honestly, lived gently, and let go of everything false. That version of you, they're waiting on the other side. And if you find them, you'll never come back here again. But even then, one question will still remain. What if even that self is just one loop higher? If this made you question your reality, your choices, your purpose, then you're not alone. Drop a comment below. What version of this life are you living right now? And if you're ready to explore more hidden truths, alternate realities, and mind-bending what-ifs, subscribe for the next loop, because the next video might just be the one that changes everything.